Mr. Chairman, Liam, distinguished members of the Royal Dublin Society, colleagues in Enterprise Ireland, both current and former, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for your kind invitation to address you this evening. For those of you not familiar with Enterprise Ireland, we are a national development agency, and our mandate from government is to accelerate, through our targeted interventions, the growth of Irish companies into becoming global players. In addition, we are centrally involved in the implementation of the government's Action Plan for Jobs. Launched in 2012, the Action Plan contained over 270 individual actions to be delivered, spanning all government departments and 36 state agencies. Enterprise Ireland had responsibility for more than 100 of these, representing a third of the action programme. And we look forward to playing a central role in the implementation of the 2013 Action Plan for Jobs, which will be published shortly. Specifically, the agency is heavily focused on driving export growth because exports sustain and create jobs. Innovation, not just R&D, although that is a crucial focus for the agency, but also right across the full value chain, including new business model development. In entrepreneurship, we take direct equity positions in startup companies and invest as a limited partner in VC funds. We take direct equity positions in approximately 100 high-technology startup companies annually, which makes us the largest very early-stage VC in Europe in terms of deal flow. In competitiveness, we work with our client companies to cause them to adopt lean manufacturing principles and world-class manufacturing standards, which is essential to our ability to compete. We engage in management development initiatives, target primarily at the level of the CEO and the senior management team. We appreciated early on that the strength of senior management team is a key differentiator of success. We have national responsibility for the 7th EU Framework Programme, FP7, and we are the main conduit through which Irish companies and academia liaise with the European Space Agency. We have a staff of 740 colleagues worldwide and an annual funds flow through the agency of approximately 340 million. We have 28 offices overseas. We report to the Department of Jobs, Enterprise and Innovation, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and we have a very close working relationship with the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine, given our strong role in the development of the food industry in Ireland and the Department of Education and Skills. Looking forward, Ireland in the years ahead will be recognised as an international hub for new product and services development. Regarding exporting, in the markets where we are strong, we will grow stronger. And we will continue to rapidly grow our export base in China, the other BRIC countries, North America, and the Middle East. In entrepreneurship, expect to see more Irish companies undertaking IPOs, listing in Dublin, London, NASDAQ, etc. Regarding competitiveness, we will further grow our substantial position in manufacturing, developing our own Mittelstand group of Irish companies. In management development, we will continue to drive leadership, ambition and scale within Irish companies. Governments encourage the growth of enterprise and trade to sustain and create employment and to increase economic impact, normally defined as total expenditure on wages and raw materials and services purchased within the state. The economic impact for Enterprise Ireland supported companies was 18.3 billion in 2011. Total direct employment, full and part-time, in Enterprise Ireland client companies stood at approximately 169,000 in 2012. Of these, 145,000 approximately are full-time jobs and the balance part-time. As Liam mentioned, when indirect employment is included, more than 300,000 people derive their employment from Enterprise Ireland supported companies, 15% of the total workforce. To their great credit, my colleagues at ID Ireland have been hugely successful at the attraction of foreign direct investment to Ireland. All the key household names are here: Intel, Microsoft, Pfizer, Google, Facebook, etc. And when we travel overseas, we mention these names, and immediately a very positive image of Ireland is created. But when I visit Germany and speak with German industrialists, they don't tell me about the latest FDI arrival in their country. They talk about the achievements of German companies, and in particular the strength of their Mittelstand companies. In other words, they talk about their own. Storytelling is the most powerful means of communication. This evening I hope to recruit you all as active storytellers of the growing success of Irish companies in worldwide markets. If I tell you about an Irish software company that's growing very fast, now exporting to 10 countries overseas and really doing a fine job, glaze over time arrives very quickly with that sort of information. Fly into any of the major US airports today and pass through immigration. You will have your fingerprints taken and your eye photographed. The bioinformatics software that enables that application is supplied by an Irish company, Dayon. Do you know how good you have to be to have your software selected as part of border security for the United States of America? To understand the progress being made by Irish companies, you have to tell the story of the application. I'd now like to show you my latest movie. It's 2.5 minutes long, and it's all about telling stories. The Irish are known throughout the world for their storytelling. Stories of Irish people who overcame great challenges and achieved extraordinary things. But today we tell stories of a different kind. Stories about Irish businesses and entrepreneurs who have addressed new challenges and have achieved global recognition for their endeavours. Today our story is about how Irish businesses are literally changing the world. Businesses like Mincon International County Clare, whose specialist drilling system created a vital lifeline to the trapped Chilean miners, ultimately leading to their release. And Multihog in County Louth, whose special purpose vehicles are used to keep the world's largest airports open in extreme weather conditions. This is the story of the unique technology developed by Radisson's Diagnostics in Cork that enables routine blood analysis for astronauts aboard the International Space Station, and how 200 million children in the developing world will receive the measles vaccine by aerosol vaccinator instead of by needle, thanks to Aerogen in Galway. How high street food brands such as Subway, Pizza Hut and McDonald's use Irish cooked meat products from Dawn Farm Foods in Kildare. How technology developed by Mercury Engineering in Dublin will be used to construct the first ever solar-powered, climate-controlled football stadium for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. How every second of every day, someone somewhere in the world is using EasyTop's cell phone top-up services to stay connected with their loved ones back home. How a small company, Oraco, on the west coast of Ireland, works with world-famous athletes to prepare them for global sporting events. And whether you are shopping in Harrods of London or in Dubai duty-free, your credit card payment is processed in the currency of your choice by Irish financial services company Fexco in County Kerry. How Barack Obama has said of Ireland, "Never has a nation so small inspired so much." These are Irish stories, Irish accolades, Irish achievements, about Irish people whose character sets them apart, about Irish businesses where innovation and creativity is at the heart of everything that they do, about Ireland, home to some of the most capable and successful businesses in the world, Ireland, the source of world-class products and services for global customers. Now is the time to do business with Ireland. Going forward, we need the greatest economic performance by indigenous industry, and we need to maintain record levels of foreign direct investment. In short, we need both. But to have both, we must now value our own more. In Enterprise Ireland, we understand that in a small country, exports sustain and create jobs. The stabilisation of employment of our client companies in 2011 was supported by buoyant international sales. With total exports reaching 15.2 billion, our clients exported more in 2011 than at any other time in the history of the state. The food and drink sector was a key contributor to the growth of Irish exports during 2011. In this context, it is important to recognise the strong working relationship Enterprise Ireland enjoys with the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine and its agencies, including Bord Bia, Bord Iascaigh and Teagasc. Enterprise Ireland new export sales exceeded 2.14 billion in 2011 for all sectors. This is the highest ever annual export gain achieved by our client companies. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Export Trade Council, of which Enterprise Ireland is represented, are key contributors and stakeholders in the national drive to increase trade. We are a very open economy, so we go into recession faster than others, but we'll also come out of it faster. Our clients' export performance in 2011 was remarkable, growing 12% in a difficult global environment. In addition, since the establishment of the Potential Exporters Division within Enterprise Ireland in early 2012, more than 2,000 companies have engaged with the division to explore opportunities to internationalise their businesses, in many cases for the first time. Enterprise Ireland currently has a network of 28 overseas offices located in targeted international markets. To maximise effectiveness, these offices are co-located with the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and/or other state agencies where possible. The agency is currently seeking additional focused resources overseas to accelerate the growth of Irish indigenous company exports to high-growth markets. The areas covered comprise Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Southeast Asia, Korea, the GCC, specifically the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar and Oman, Turkey and Japan, and 2 other selected targeted regions that are currently experiencing strong economic growth, Western Australia and Western Canada. This request for additional resources in selected markets is based on a clearly identified market opportunity, which is matched by evidence of client demand stroke capability and which will result in increased exports and jobs in Ireland. The support and promotion of in-company R&D and innovation, as well as collaborative innovation with others, is central to our clients' continued success. Innovation is at the heart of all entrepreneurship, be it in a high-growth potential startup company, turning knowledge into solutions, or in established companies that are constantly improving their products and processes, and thus their ability to compete and win sales overseas. Continuous innovation within Irish companies is a major focus of Enterprise Ireland. We work closely with Science Foundation Ireland to drive spin-out companies from higher education institutes. The Technology Centres programme, which Enterprise Ireland runs jointly with IDA Ireland, continues to expand with additional centres launched in 2012 in the areas of cloud computing, financial services and learning technologies. It is a key objective of the agency to continually drive the commercial return on the state's research investment by providing direct funding to researchers to commercialise their work, and by building the technology transfer infrastructure within the universities, where dedicated technology transfer offices have been established to drive the commercialisation of research and bring commercialisation opportunities to Irish companies. Commercially relevant research centres have also been established in institutes of technology, and campus innovation facilities have been put in place to support new technology companies in their formative years. We continue to help companies to win funding from Europe for innovative research. Irish SMEs today rank number 1 per capita in the EU for FP7 funding. And since 2007, we have helped Irish organisations secure 485 million from the 7th EU Framework Programme FP7 and the European Space Agency. In 2012 alone, Irish-based companies secured over 37 million from FP7 and ESA, both important sources of non-exchequer funding. Last year, Enterprise Ireland supported the largest ever investment in research and development from an Irish company. The Kerry Group announced plans to establish a global food innovation centre of excellence in Naas, County Kildare, with 900 jobs. The initial investment here is worth over 100 million and will be game-changing for global food innovation. Already, the Kerry Group has started recruitment and they are on target for 200 employees by April 2013, including 50 graduate positions. Enterprise Ireland worked intensively with the Department of Jobs, Enterprise and Innovation, the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine, and the Department of Taoiseach in a whole-of-government approach to securing this investment. However, we are never complacent. Our companies are competing against the biggest and best in the world, and while they are increasingly winning, we know that 2013 will be a year of continuing challenges. In preparation for this, the agency will focus more resources on the strategies that deliver jobs through exports, competitiveness and innovation. We will continue to increase the number of high-potential startups from within Ireland and overseas, and realign where necessary our overseas network to meet the needs of our clients. The purpose of exporting is to engage in profitable business, and Ireland's international trading footprint is evolving rapidly. In the markets where we are strong, the United Kingdom, the United States, near Europe and Australia, we will grow stronger. Just 10 years ago, 50% of exports by Irish companies went to the United Kingdom. Today, 62% of exports by indigenous industry are to markets outside the United Kingdom, notwithstanding that exports to the UK have increased by €750 million in the interim. Over the last 5 years, as we in Ireland turned in on ourselves, world markets have continued to develop apace. Islands should never turn in on themselves. Islands must always turn out to the world. By 2030 at the latest, China will be the largest economy in the world. Brazil is the only country in the world which on its own has the potential to feed China. The Arabian Peninsula, with its population of 230 million people, still represents the world's largest reserves of oil and strong market opportunity. The Russian Federation, with its huge reserves of gas, has the potential to heat Western Europe for decades to come. And India's rapidly growing middle class will open up key market opportunities for advanced technology products and services from Ireland. I am indebted to the members of the Irish diaspora for their assistance to Enterprise Ireland. They have been of material assistance to our client companies. Many of the Irish diaspora occupy key positions of influence in business and government worldwide. But some Irish fared less well, and they are no less important, no less Irish, no less part of our family. But to successfully address these countries of high economic growth in the medium to long term, we must now develop a new diaspora through the education of overseas students in Ireland. Think of the opportunity for Irish students to receive their third-level education in a multicultural environment. The economic impact in Ireland from the existing third-level overseas students is estimated at 700 million annually. Most importantly, these overseas students are the future leaders, entrepreneurs, and decision-makers in their own countries. On the most recent trade mission to Qatar, I had the opportunity to meet with some of the senior government ministers. Early in the conversation, they all mentioned the same thing. Do you know our leading cardiac surgeons were educated in Dublin? The current Deputy Prime Minister of Vietnam received his postgraduate education in Ireland. The current Chief Executive of Telefonica in Madrid learned English in Dublin. A new diaspora for a new age and a new economic beginning. Today, Ireland is a developed economy, and international buyers look to Ireland as a source of sophisticated products and services. Today, it is right to expect that jobs will be created in those areas of the economy that you would expect jobs to come from in a developed economy. Export growth is vital because exports sustain and create jobs in Ireland. Increasingly, jobs will come from entrepreneurship and small and medium enterprise. Going forward, it is much more likely that your son, daughter, or ward will be self-employed or employed in an SME than they will be employed in a large company or in the public service. And I'll say that again. Going forward, it is much more likely that your son, daughter, or ward will be self-employed or employed in an SME than they will be employed in a large company or in the public service, because that's the way it is in a developed economy. Employment will come from the sectors that are growing: software, life sciences, clean tech, green tech, food, internationally traded services, construction services. Jobs will be created through micro-enterprise and social enterprise. And now that we have our feet on the ground again after the boom, we recognise that every job is important and makes a valuable contribution to our society. Following on from the government's decision to restructure the micro-enterprise and small business support system, the dissolution of the 35 county and city enterprise boards, and the establishment of local enterprise offices within the local authorities will take place during 2013. Enterprise Ireland will be developing a new centre of excellence to support the local enterprise offices and micro and small business across Ireland in the coming year. Ireland's best days lie ahead of us and not behind us. Today we have more Irish companies exporting than at any time in the history of the state. More Irish companies engaged in research and development than ever. More Irish businessmen and women capable of doing business on the international stage and winning out against global competition than ever before. Look around the room this evening. Look at the capability in this room. We did not have such competence or anything like it in the 1980s. Today, Ireland is a nation of global reach. We are the largest exporter of infant milk formula in the world. Currently, 1 out of every 7 children fortunate enough to have access to infant formula is supplied from Ireland. When the expansion of the Danone facility in Macroom is completed later this year, 1 in every 5 children fortunate enough to have access to infant formula will be supplied from Ireland. We are the largest net exporter of pharmaceuticals in the world, the 2nd largest exporter of computer and IT services in the world, the 5th largest exporter of beef in the world. In financial services, €2.2 trillion of funds are administered from Ireland. All this from a nation with a resident population equal to that of the greater Boston area, or half of the population of Sweden, Switzerland, or Austria. We are an island of a larger island off the coast of Europe, but this island has achieved great things, and we will again. Enterprise Ireland recognises that our clients must be competitive in order to succeed in international markets. A range of supports are available, including a company competitiveness health check, which enables companies to benchmark against a database of European companies, to our lean transfer offer, which provides financial support towards a large-scale, extensive and holistic company transformation programme. Ireland remains high in international rankings as a place to do business. The World Competitiveness Yearbook ranks Ireland 1st for corporate taxes and 4th for having a culture that is open to new ideas. We are 4th in the world for the availability of skilled labour and 6th for labour productivity. Meanwhile, the World Bank rates us 8th for ease of doing business. We have a very high volume of business startups and a strong entrepreneurial culture. The support structure and funding environment for new businesses is among the best available anywhere. Established entrepreneurs count for more than 9% of the population of this country. And Ireland is not only fostering its own entrepreneurs, Enterprise Ireland is seeking to attract successful international serial entrepreneurs looking to set up their next venture in Ireland. The Irish seed and venture capital sector is an absolutely critical element of the funding environment supporting the creation of jobs and startups. Along with taking equity stakes in companies, the state through Enterprise Ireland has invested heavily in stimulating the venture capital industry. 3 programmes have been run since 1994. Enterprise Ireland has committed over €320 million into this activity. This has leveraged €900 million in seed and venture capital funds, resulting in a total industry size of €1.2 billion. Under the 3 programmes, investments have been made in almost 400 companies. Seed funds are particularly important for encouraging entrepreneurs to set up new innovative businesses and attracting high-potential startups from overseas. At the end of 2012, €124 million was under management by 4 seeds funds. This is a 4-fold increase on the amount of seed funding available in the last 3 years. These funds are focused on making capital available to early-stage businesses. This represents an unprecedented level of funding for the key startup early-stage segment of Irish business. Notwithstanding this welcome progress, major decisions lie ahead. We are approaching the time when we in Ireland, as a people, will have to decide what our contribution to new Europe is going to be. When our current economic challenges are overcome, and they will be overcome, we will not return to the status quo Europe of the past, but to a new Europe, eager and anxious to chart its course within a rapidly evolving world. The men, women and children who will make up this new Europe will see their communities more integrated than ever before in all facets of life. Of all the values we hold dear, trust will be essential to success. So how will we in Ireland communicate trust? A confident Ireland has much to contribute to New Europe. A holistic Ireland where our language, arts, literature, businesses and the richness of the diversity of our population characterise our contribution to a confident Europe. Notwithstanding our population size of 4.6 million, Ireland today produces food sufficient to feed 35 million people. By 2020, Ireland will feed 55 million people. Currently, 80% of everything we make in this country is sold into export markets, purchased by overseas buyers, consumed or utilised elsewhere, paid for by the citizens of other countries. So as citizens, have we sought to understand the potential of modern Ireland? I am often asked, what is the most important language in the world for doing business? The expected answer, of course, is English. The most important business language in the world is the language of your customer. The United Kingdom is a prized and valued market for Irish goods and services. Today, 62% of exports by our Enterprise Ireland supported companies are supplied to markets other than the United Kingdom. So how are we to service these growing international markets? The actions we take now to strategically reposition our country must be bold, noble, and game-changing. So as a people, are we prepared by choice to become a multilingual country? I welcome the recent statement by the export group on future skills needs, and I quote, "Unless we significantly boost our language skills, both in terms of numbers and proficiency, the opportunities of the global market will not be realised and Ireland will be at a competitive disadvantage," unquote. In the decades ahead, foreign language skills will be essential for Ireland to maximise its export potential. At junior cycle level, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment is currently developing a short course on Chinese, and a transition year module in Chinese was launched last year. At senior cycle, the languages include French, German, Spanish, Italian, Russian, Japanese and Arabic, as well as English and Irish. Almost 12% of our post-primary students, as well as our general population, are of nationalities other than Irish. Many would have a mother tongue that is not English. These individuals represent a significant resource to widen the pool of languages available in Ireland. In addition, such a development has the potential to further leverage Ireland's internationally recognised strength in STEM subjects. It is not a question of technology or languages. We are now a multicultural country. New Europe will remain a major trading bloc, and future generations of young Irish people will require a greater competence in languages if, as a nation, we are to reach our full economic potential. For too long, the debate has continued about the teaching of the Irish language. I favour the teaching of Irish. It is part of who I am and who we are collectively. Our language, culture, heritage, values and behaviour all help to define us as a sovereign people. It is our attitude to other languages that must change. Our identity does not preclude the appreciation and growing relevance and importance of other languages. We are now world citizens, and we need to astride the world stage with the confidence to communicate effectively. Future generations will rightly stand in judgment of us. They will take a forensic interest in how we acted to position our great nation for growth and prosperity at this, our time of challenge. I can think of no greater legacy than to show them that we boldly acted to fundamentally position our country for growth, that we embraced trade opportunities worldwide, that we returned our state to its rightful position as one of the most advanced technology countries in the world, and that we accelerated this rapid progress by becoming a multilingual country. In the early 1980s, I had the pleasure of meeting Senator Jeremiah Denton. He was elected to the Senate in Washington on his return from Vietnam, where he served as a general in the American Armed Forces. We talked, amongst other things, about how leadership manifests itself. He told me of a task in the military of getting everybody across the bridge with nobody left behind. He asked me what I did. I told him, my job is to create jobs back in Ireland. He paused and then he said to me, "You know, the work you're doing and what we just talked about are similar." I said, "I'm sorry, Senator, you'll have to help me with that one." He said to me, "You're trying to get the people of Ireland across the bridge." Perhaps at times in the past we forgot that in a republic it's about getting everybody across the bridge and leaving nobody behind. We must now fashion our bridge to the future. We must build well, for across this bridge will pass the lives and livelihoods of future generations. These generations will make a defining contribution to Ireland, New Europe, and the world. Ireland is a nation with a proud history of meeting challenges, of surviving, of recovering, of growing, of achieving, of being great, and we will continue to be great. The things that made Ireland great before still exist: our people, our education system, our innovative products and services, and our export selling capabilities. Ireland can be the comeback economy of Europe, but we must be proud of who we are and what we have achieved. We must be proud of our homegrown companies and what they are achieving. And we must let ambition characterize our actions once more. As citizens of this republic, we collectively have the responsibility of being the architects of this country's future. That is an awesome responsibility when you think about it. Our individual and collective behaviour and actions now will decide Ireland's future. We all have to make sure that the full story of Ireland's economy is heard, not only overseas, but at home. The message to the international community is that they should expect Ireland to be the comeback economy of Europe. The message to Irish companies is that now is the time to dream big dreams. There is no reason whatsoever for them to limit their ambitions. We now have the opportunity to stand up and show the world what we are made of, that we have integrity, that we have self-discipline, and that we overcame our difficulties while still remaining a caring society. I am for taking this opportunity. I thank you for the honour extended to me to address the 2013 Royal Dublin Society Economic Recovery Lecture Series here this evening, and I thank you greatly for your kind attention.